General John Galvin retires this month after 5 years as Commander-in-Chief, United States European Command. When he enlisted in 1948, General George C. Marshall was Secretary of State. Said Marshall, "The only way to be sure of winning a Third World War is to prevent it." These words frame General Galvin's military career, a career painted with the colors of one of the most dynamic periods of modern history.
I started in 1948 as a private in the Massachusetts National Guard. I was an ambulance driver. That wasn't so bad. In less than 2 years of hard work, I worked my way all the way up to private first class. I went from there to the military academy, on into a life in the infantry. Spent 2 years in Vietnam. It was all good. Some of it was better than others.
I also leave with a nagging concern I have had for these 8 years, and that is that the Soviets may, if we're not careful, and current trends continue, achieve their objective in Western Europe to reach a point where with massive conventional forces they will be able to intimidate, coerce, blackmail us, and eventually neutralize the nations of Western Europe without having to fire a shot. And unless we call a halt soon to our denuclearization, we will contribute to the ease with which that objective will be achieved. But these are challenges for the future, and in Jack Galvin, the Alliance has an officer of energy and ability to address them.
Now, we've reduced out Pershing II and the Ground Launch Cruise Missile, but we don't want to go any farther than that because the deterrence of war in Europe depends on nuclear weapons. We want to stop war in Europe. We want to keep out of war in Europe, but we don't want to get rid of all the nuclear weapons in Europe because that doesn't mean keeping out of war.
When you one of these days walk away from Mons, Belgium, or from here in Stuttgart, what will you want to have accomplished?
Now, if, God forbid, somehow or other our deterrence fails, then the mission is war fighting. And in fact, one of the ways that you deter war is that you show you're a good war fighter to start with. People don't take you on. And I think we have shown that to the other side. And I'm not afraid, by the way, of all the inspections they want to make over here and take a look at us, because I think it's going to scare the hell out of them. And we're ready for both of those missions. And when I walk away, whenever that day comes, or of course when they throw me out, whatever, I want to make sure that I can say that I did everything I could to deter war, but I was always ready in case anybody wanted to take us on.
November 10th, 1989, the political and military picture in Europe began to change dramatically.
We military are trained to live in change. We build in versatility, we build in flexibility. You're going to need to make decisions when all the information is not clear. Certainly that's been true over the last 3 or 4 years. And a lot of decisions were made in circumstances where I wished for a lot more information than I knew. I'm also enormously proud of United States European Command for the willing support which this command has put out for that operation. I think everybody is leaning forward in the saddle, leaning forward in the foxhole, leaning forward on the bridge of that ship, and everything else that we can do to lean forward to help in Desert Shield. And we will do that to the very best of our abilities. The 450,000 Kurds who were lost in the mountains and dying, and we saved them through a massive humanitarian operation by 8 nations, but basically the backbone of that, once again, was NATO, the NATO forces. We've changed our strategy. Our strategy today says that we recognize that our own security within the alliance depends to a great degree on the sense of security that other nations outside the alliance have. people in uniform are the first ones to say, let's try to have peace if at all possible. If we can make friends with former adversaries, then we have accomplished something enormously important. We have achieved success without bloodshed. So we're going down this road together. What could be better? We will be smaller, including the U.S. forces. We'll go down to 150,000 by 1995. But I think that we'll have a good force.
The forward-thinking and innovative training that has been part of 7th Corps has laid the groundwork and been the model for the flexible, mobile, multinational forces that are the cornerstone of NATO's new alliance and new strategic concept.
The presence of U.S. Forces there provides a kind of glue. In other words, I am not sure at all that with the absence of U.S. forces, NATO would hold together. It might split along old historic lines. We did what we set out to do. We won the Cold War. We brought back peace and stability where we had an enormous confrontation, and we did it in such a way that our adversaries want to join us. They want to be like us. They see in us the models for their own future. How could we have done more in this time than that? Mission accomplished.